It's official, Noni Madueke is an Arsenal player. talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, has the specifics.
It's a 5-year contract until 2030. Initial fee of 48 million rising to 52 million pounds. And this is one very much driven by Mikel Arteta. He admires the versatility that Madueke brings. Obviously, he can play on either flank. I think they've looked at the numbers and the data, and they think they're getting a decent signing here.
Madueke will join up with his new teammates tomorrow evening as they embark on their tour of Singapore and Hong Kong. Now, Manchester United are understood to have reached an agreement with Brentford over Bryan Mbeumo. talkSPORT understands a bid of £65 million plus £5 million in add-ons has hit the spot. Brentford, meanwhile, are prepared to rebuff all offers for Yoane Wissa, with Mbeumo's move to Old Trafford now seemingly on. Forest, Newcastle and Tottenham are all said to be interested. Elsewhere, the Lionesses have been warned they used up most of their 9 lives during the win over Sweden. Their performance has been labelled by some as truly terrible, with others stating their disbelief they made it through. talkSPORT's Courtney Sweetman-Kirk has called for a big improvement.
They're a bit fortunate, England, and don't get me wrong, you've got to have fortune to get through a major tournament in terms of to get to a final, to go and win it. So I'm not taking away from England, but you're right. Maybe Italy, we might get away with that, but Spain, there's absolutely no chance we will get away with playing like that.
England face Italy in the last 4 of the Euros on Tuesday night. You can hear live commentary on talkSPORT. Not long to go now until the first Lions test against Australia, a game they're favourites to win.
We don't pay too much attention to the bookies' odds or what people are saying. We're just concentrating on
This is the British and Irish Lions kick-off preview show here on talkSPORT as we look ahead to tomorrow morning's all-important opening test between the Wallabies and the Lions. I'm your host, Topsy, and alongside me in the studio, delighted to say we have an absolute legend of Wales and Lions rugby. 57 appearances for Wales over a 12-year period, and he also scored the opening try in the first test against the Wallabies back in 2013. It's a warm welcome to the former Lions winger, Alex Cuthbert. How are you doing?
Hey mate, how's it going? Yeah, good. Very well. Very excited. I'll be honest, I cannot wait till tomorrow, and I appreciate you calling me a legend. I'll take that all day of the week.
No, don't get that very often?
No. There's a lot of Welsh legends, mate, and I'm down the pecking order.
Oh, mate, come on, being humble. Well, it's less than 24 hours until the series of a lifetime gets underway. For the Lions, an opportunity for rugby immortality, and for the Wallabies, they only get this opportunity once every 12 years, and every player on the field tomorrow will want to etch their name in history. It's the opening test of Australia versus the British and Irish Lions, and we're bringing it to you live and exclusive right here on talkSPORT.
It's time for another chapter in the history of that famous red jersey.
We cannot afford our emotional energy to dip whatsoever. You know why? Because there is no tomorrow.
And Argentina win! The British and Irish Lions players are standing, partially stunned.
You shock yourself by taking yourself to another level.
Keenan puts the ball into Dylan van der Merwe's hands. Van der Merwe has a hat-trick. And it's another Scottish try.
Because that's what being a Lion's about.
Lions have their 4th try of the evening.
As a British and Irish rugby player, this is what you dream of.
When it came to the test, they were a different beast. That's when they really ramp it up.
Pollock's got it back and he's barreling his way forward. Up and over the 22. Keeps going. 5 metres out. Can he get the offload away? Yes, he can.
It ain't about taking part. It ain't about being here. It's about winning.
Ben White. Cummings goes over and scores a try. It's another Scotland try.
They won't have that. They won't have that. Make it your point of difference.
Get ready for the Road of the Lions here on talkSPORT.
From now on, gloves are off.
Yes, it's finally here. The British and Irish Lions take on the Wallabies in the opening test of the series tomorrow, live and exclusive right here on talkSPORT. Coverage starts at 10 a.m. with kickoff at 11. Shabana Hearn will be your host for that one. She'll be in the studio with Alex, as well as Wallabies all-time record try scorer David Campese and your commentary team of the former Lion, Ben Kay and Andrew McKenna. Now, Alex, you have been in this position. You know what it's all about. So let's take us back to 2013, from the start of Test week to finding out you were in the team to the night before the first game.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was a long, I guess, 4 or 5 weeks beforehand. You know, we've obviously covered all the warm-up games and the anticipation of like who's being selected. You know, you see it in the week. All the teams, people are selected, aren't they? Who's in, who's out. And I think I remember we found out the team on the Tuesday morning before training. And yeah, that was a real surreal moment. You know, when you just look at the names on the list, and then you get to Friday, you have a jersey presentation. I think we had Surrey and McGeechan come in and present the jersey, and then that really hit me. Like, I actually got quite emotional. I remember getting my shirt presented to me, and I think that really hit me then. Like, wow, I'm actually a Lion. You know, when you're an actual Lion Test team, it's a very different feeling to playing in the warm-up games and then being selected in that Test team.
And how did the team get announced on that Tuesday? Was it just up on the board, or how did it go?
It wasn't anything special, mate. It was literally Warren Gatlin was like, right, lads, this is the team. You've all worked incredibly hard. Bang, on the screen. And you're just like, where's my name? Where's my name? And you see it and you're like, yeah. And obviously, I was surrounded by so many other Welsh boys that we'd obviously had such a really good year with. So I think that whole experience made it a bit more comfortable being around them as well.
All right, well, let's move on and talk about Andy Farrell's squad for the opening test. And we'll run through the squad very quickly. So the front row, Ellis Genge, Dan Sheehan and Tyg Furlong. Maro Itoje, captain, with Joe McCarthy in the second row. The back row, a lot of debate about this one. Tyg Byrne at 6, Tom Curry at 7 and Jack Conan at 8. The halfbacks, Jamison Gibson Park and Finn Russell. Centres, Team Scotland, Sione Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones. James Lowe and Tommy Freeman on the wing, and Hugo Keenan at fullback. And Lions head coach Andy Farrell spoke to talkSPORT's Alfie Reynolds yesterday following the announcement and was asked if experience was the biggest factor in selecting this squad.
100% throw everything into the mix. You know, it's a big responsibility representing this group. First up, this is what we came for, Test match football. It's a big responsibility to show each other how we're going to attack this game. So you obviously take into consideration a lot of things, obviously form, but a big part of that as well is big match temperament, and I think we've got a good few of those in the starting lineup.
So, Alex, a couple of those positions were really hotly debated, but what was your initial take on the squad when it was announced?
Well, if I'm being honest, you know, as a Welshman, I thought Jack Morgan probably couldn't have done much more in terms of play his way into maybe the 23, but looking at that squad, Andy Farrell's gone with a team he is very familiar with. He's relied on over the years with Ireland, likes the Tom Curry. I think one position that's probably not been questioned as much would be Tyg Furlong. You know, at 6, I don't think he's been, you know, playing his best, and I think obviously the conversation is why isn't Jack in and so forth, but it's a pretty strong team, isn't it? For me, I think that's probably not far off their strongest side. I like Matt Hansen. I think he would have been in there about it, because the way they want to play, usually the Irish way, he fits it. But I think this team here, they've really gone, right, how are we going to beat Australia is that front five, isn't it? And they've gone big, physical. I think they're gonna really take it to Australia physicality wise.
Yeah, so do you think maybe Andy's picked the squad on what he felt he was going to go with anyway, as opposed to the form that certain players like Jack and Mac have shown over the course of the pre-warm-up games?
Yeah, I think so. I reckon he would have had this squad in mind for quite a while. And I think I guess certain players probably played their way onto the bench. You know, like Ben Earl, I thought he had a really good game last week. Bundiaki's gone really well. I think he'd be quite unlucky not to start, because I think Sione Tuipulotu has been a bit quiet, but you've got to stick with that Scottish spine. I think, you know, they've showed in glimpses what they can do.
Yeah, you touched on Jack Morgan as well. I mean, no Welsh representative for the first time since 1896, and like you said, he almost couldn't have done any more.
Makes it harder, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, stiff competition, but if you look at the stats, he was probably the Form 7 out of himself, out of Josh van der Fleer and Tom Curry, who's got the nod.
Yeah, well, they're absolutely stacked in that area. We've forgotten Henry Pollock as well, you know, so they've got so much, I guess, depth in that position, but he's just gone with players that I think they've been in the big games, you know, the World Cup finals, the deciding games in Six Nations, you know, the Leinster finals, obviously with the Irish side, and And I'll tell you now, these test matches, they do come down to those fine margins. And when you have that experience in those certain situations, they make such a big difference. And I'm not saying Jack's not experienced, because we will gain that, but he probably hasn't been in those situations as much as the lads that are starting.
Is that something you maybe saw in 2013 where, as the squad was being picked, Warren Gatland kind of went with, my guys, this is who I know and I trust, and they will deliver for me?
Well, we saw that, didn't we, I guess in the third test, dropping Brian O'Driscoll, the most undroppable bloke you'll ever meet in terms of how good he is how good of a player he is for Jonathan Davis. But it fit the team for that game. And I think that's why the Lions is so special, because it doesn't mean form sort of goes out the window, really. And I think it goes like what you know well as a coach. I think Gatland, it served him really well. And I think Andy Farrell would have probably learnt a little bit from Warren, being a defence coach over the years, really sticking with the guys he knows really well.
I have to quickly ask about the youngest member of the squad, Henry Pollock. There was talk about him, maybe his X factor, forcing his way onto the bench, but he's been pipped by Ben Earl. What do you make of that?
Yeah, big call that. I think Ben Earl, like we spoke about, he played really well last week. Pollock, though, has that point of difference. His speed, I think, is so... There's no one else like that, is there, in that back row position? Coming off the bench, rather than 10-15 minutes to play, you can see him scoring a try out of nothing, can't you? He's the one player in that Lions, front, the pack, that is able to do that. He would definitely be involved, I think, in the test going forward, because he's picked a big physical test team here. I think they're going to really throw it at Australia, and I think that as the games go on, they'll probably look to play a little bit more.
Yeah, well, we've got loads to get to with the squad and the test kicking off. So much to cover. You're listening to the British and Irish Lions kickoff preview with coverage sponsored by Tenormen. Keep control. Don't forget the talkSPORT network has been your home of the Lions for the last 12 years, and this year is no different. We'll be bringing you live and exclusive commentary of all three of the upcoming tests, as well as the midweek game against the First Nations and Pacifica 15, with our coverage of the opening test getting underway tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Up next, we're going to talk about what it means to be a British and Irish Lion.
lucky to work for this.
It's the pinnacle of our sport.
The shirt is bigger than any individual.
It's about, so much more than just playing the rugby.
Beats the first, beats the second, he's over the 10-metre line. He's going towards the 22, he beats the fullback, he's going for the corner. George North, Bridgestone will get the air! George North scores the try!
For me, it's about the connections you make, the people you meet. Just to play for the Lions is huge. It's just coming on a Lions tour, I just thought was like the best thing since sliced bread.
You come together for 6 or 7 weeks and you almost become sort of best mates, really.
For me, one of the best experiences you can get in rugby.
Jamieson Gibson Park, picks, goes around the edge, gives to Maro, it's O'Shea who gets over the line. Lions have their 4th try of the evening.
As a British and Irish rugby player, this is what you dream of.
It's about bringing together a whole set of different players that you never ordinarily be together.
We just have this understanding that, the Lions jersey is still, I think, for a rugby player, the biggest thing you can wear, and the respect that goes with it.
You're listening to the British and Irish Lions kickoff preview here on talkSPORT. I'm your host, Topsy, and alongside me, none other than Wales legend, yes, I said it again, legend, and former Lions winger, Alex Cuthbert. Now, you've just heard from so many huge names from Lions squad gone, speaking about what it means to put on that special jersey and represent the 4 home nations. Some of those voices, James Haskell, George North, Finn Russell, Maro Itoje, and the great Sir Ian McGeechan. It's something that only 883 people in history have done before, and one of those, I'd like to say, sat alongside me. So it's a wide-ranging question. But Alex, what does it mean to be a British and Irish Lion?
I got my hair standing on the edge. It's one of the best feelings I've ever had. I think when I got named in the squad, it was out of this world, because you work so hard, to get into obviously national team, the professional rugby national team, and then to be selected in that 34, I think it was, being named as, I guess, one of the best players in your position. That was a great feeling. But when I got named in the test team, I think one of the best phone calls I've ever had was calling my parents to say that I was starting that first test. And then they could fly over, so they could come and watch me.
Book your flights,
literally. But it's an unbelievable feeling. I think because it came to me so early, it was a sort of, and I was on such a roll as a young player. I was like, wow, I felt like I was at the top. Like literally, it was the best feeling. And I think Sir Ian McGeechan said something when I got presented the jersey. He goes, "You'll wear this jersey, but your legacy and I guess how well you go on it is how you leave it after you finish with it, because then the next generation or the next 4 years someone else will wear that jersey, number 14 jersey." So that stuck with me quite a lot. So I tried to, it felt heavy wearing it, but after I felt like I had to give absolutely everything in that jersey to leave it, I guess, in a better place for the next guy who gets a chance to wear that jersey, because you just don't know if you ever will get another chance, and obviously that was my only one-time chance that I've ever worn it. So I really took that to heart, and I tried to just do everything possible to do the best in that jersey, not just for myself, but for the team, my family, everyone that supported me, and everyone that got me into that situation. There's so many people that help you along the way, isn't it, to achieve it? And it was some feeling. I think when being in that changing room, that was the best feeling.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I'm going to ask you about that in a second, but how did you find out you were selected?
So we literally got told on a Tuesday. As in the squad.
Oh, sorry, for the initial squad, yes.
I was in training out with the Cardiff at the time, and there were lads they're naming the team, and we ran into this big screen, and then you're just like, please, okay, my name is Alex Cuthbert, so I knew I'd have been early enough, and it just comes up, and you're just like, wow, emotion. And then I straight away ran outside, rang my dad. I was like, "Dad, I'm in." He goes, "Yeah, I know. I watched it as well." Because it was all on Sky, and no one knows. Literally no one has a clue other than, everyone knows at the same time. So that was an unbelievable feeling as well.
Yeah, that was one of the great things, I guess, from your tour, this tour as well.
Yes.
Seeing the players find out at the same time. Normally squads, you kind of know when you're going to be in one, but this is kind of still a secret. You have an inkling, but you don't quite know. So actually finding out at the same time as everybody, and actually those genuine reactions must be amazing. Like,
literally that, it's just raw emotion, isn't it? It's like everything just comes out there and then. And I think I had to sort of leave the room pretty quickly, and I sort of lost it a little bit, because you think you're in, you think you got a chance, but you just don't know, do you? Like with a different head coach, different coaches, different, I guess, the way of who they want to choose in the squad. I couldn't have done any more, I guess, in terms of how well we did as a team for Wales, but you just don't know. And then when you see your name, and it's just the relief, and everything just floods in, thinking, like, what a feeling, you know. I'm literally a British and Irish Lion, 777 cap number, you know. That, you know, I never forget that.
Yeah, all right. So then let's go to the Saturday of the first test and kind of that walking into the changing room and out to the stadium for the first time.
Yeah, that was some buzz. I think for me, I was 23 at the time, and I remember Sam Warburton was obviously captain at the time. Did the team talk in the change room. I'm looking around. There's Brian O'Driscoll, Paul O'Connell, Sean O'Brien, Johnny Sexton, all these lads, you know, that I've watched for years and years before I started playing professional. And I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be some game. Walking out, the atmosphere in the Suncorp is unreal. Probably top 3 best atmospheres I've ever been involved. And straight away, you're like, wow, this, you know, you can feel the weight of the jersey. You see the sea of red in the stadiums. And it's just, yeah, it's so hard to explain. I don't think I'll ever get close to that again, you know, in terms of that feeling of running out of a British and Irish Lion. You obviously you hear the national anthem from Australia, and then you're straight into it then, and it's just a blur then, really, the whole game. And then obviously, luckily enough, we got the win in that first test, and it just sets you on such a high going into the rest of the tour.
Yeah, I feel like I'm there already. You've taken me back to 2013, and obviously the crop tomorrow are going to get the chance to emulate. I mean, they want to win the series 3-0. They want to go down as an unbeaten team, depending on if you count the Argentina game or not. But how big of an achievement would it be for the Lions to win this series and perhaps even maybe win 3-0?
I think it's massive. I think it's massive for rugby, isn't it, in general? I think it's not going to be easy. I think people saying it's going to win easy 3-0. To win in Australia is so hard. You know, if you look at that, I'm going back now for being in the team of Wales, how good we were in that period of time. I think I played Australia 16 times and I won once. That's how tough the Australian team are to beat. If you want an Aussie shirt, I've got plenty in the house, you know, when we swap jerseys. But even with the Lions squad, you're not being together for long. It's so hard to go down there and beat an Aussie. And obviously we'll have David Campese on tomorrow, and obviously other Australians. And they are such a tough nut to crack in terms of mentality. The Australian mentality is up there, and they won't roll over tomorrow, I'm telling you now, and it will be a tough game for the Lions.
Absolutely not. Well, Australia captain Harry Wilson was speaking to the media earlier today, and he talked about Henry Pollock's comment about the Lions beating the Wallabies 3-0.
There's so much chatter about rugby at the moment, and everyone's got an opinion. There's thousands of people over here who all have their predictions, so that's just another one for us, and the only thing we can control is what we've done during the week and what we're going to go out there and do tomorrow night.
Well, we just talked about it there, but how important is this series for Australia, and how big a boost would it be if they were to win?
Oh, it'd be massive, wouldn't it? You know, they've got a World Cup in 2 years' time, I think 2027, isn't it? So this would be such a big boost. You know, they're getting the likes of Swali, who's come from NRL, who's an absolute superstar. I don't think you realise that if people are looking to him, how big NRL is out there and how big a star he was, to come across the Union and have a chance to play in a Lions series. Because like you said, it only comes around every so often, unless you're James Slipper, who I played against in 2013 and he's still going. So, but it's going to be huge. I think the buzz around it, I think when they came over and obviously beat England, gave Ireland a great game, I think that buzz then really told, because the media, they were talking about Union, where I think Union's always been a bit on the back foot, isn't it, with NRL so high, AFL, but the Lions, it really is. I remember 2013, the atmosphere, the press, like I remember we'd turn up to a presser and it'd be like 20 people deep. You know, that you know, then you're catching people's attention around the country. And I think these lads are doing the same again. They've been really well, and I really hope we see an Australian side absolutely swinging tomorrow, you know, in terms of throwing everything they can at the Lions. Yeah, it's going to be a brilliant test. I mean, just to touch on some Australian team news very quickly, no Rob Valentini, no Will Skelton. They're going to be huge losses for Australia. 22-year-old Tom Liner starting at fly half, his first start in 4 caps, so a lot of pressure on his young shoulders. But you said his name there, Joe Suaalii starting at centre, huge superstar coming over from rugby league. So Australia will be pinning a lot of their hopes on him. We're actually going to speak more in depth about the Wallabies in an hour's time with the rugby writer Julian Linden, so stick around for that one. And also over on talkSPORT 2, Spain are currently in action against Switzerland in the quarterfinals of the Women Euros. Ian Abrahams watching that one for talkSPORT.
And nearly half an hour gone. Spain 0, Switzerland 0, but Spain should be ahead. They had a golden chance after 8 minutes. Maria Caldente, plays for Arsenal, was fouled inside the box. She picked up the ball, one of the best players in the WSL, but she channeled her inner Diana Ross, and as we've seen so many times recently with penalties in this tournament, she dragged it horribly wide of the post. Pinas had a free kick saved by Peng, and a run and shot also saved by the Swiss goalkeeper. Spain are on top here, but they'll be kicking themselves. They didn't take the chance from the penalty spot. It's live on talkSPORT 2. It's Spain 0, Switzerland 0.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. When the big match means Big McDonald's hunger, try the new and iconic Big Arch. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
You're listening to the British and Irish Lions kickoff preview live on talkSPORT with coverage sponsored by Tenormen. Find out more at tenormen.co.uk. Don't forget, it's Supersonic Saturday of sporting action here on talkSPORT tomorrow, all kicking off with the Lions' all-important first test against the Wallabies. We've got live and exclusive commentary of that from 10 a.m, while at the same time it's day 3 of the Open at Portrush. You can listen to all the chaos unfold with our coverage over on talkSPORT 2. That's at 7 a.m. And if that wasn't enough, in the evening, Daniel Dubois takes on Alexander Usyk at Wembley for the undisputed crown, and we will be bringing you live commentary of that as well. It's a summer of sport, it's in full swing, and it's all right here on talkSPORT. Coming up next, going to be joined by another legend from the world of rugby, two-time Lions tourist and former Ireland captain. It's Rory Best.
his ability to lead and be a cool head at key times is a great asset to have.
But right now they're looking at maybe conceding a try, and it's Rory Best. Rory Best goes over on St Patrick's Day. It's a green slam for Rory Best.
To win something captaining in that special green jersey is something that dreams are made of, and certainly for me it's up there as probably a career, the biggest highlight of my career.
You're listening to the British and Irish Lions kickoff preview show here on talkSPORT as we continue to build up to the all-important first test between the Wallabies and the Lions on talkSPORT. I'm your host, Topsy. Alongside me, 2013 Lions winger Alex Cuthbert. And as you just heard, it's time to welcome to the show a very special guest, two-time tourist with the Lions in 2013 and 2017, 126 appearances for Ireland over a 14-year career, which included 4 Six Nations titles and 2 Grand Slams. He captained Ireland on a number of occasions. It's a very good evening to the legend that is Rory Best. Rory, how are you?
Very good, guys. I see you've got all of my tries in one short clip there. That was good.
How you going, Rory, mate? You all right?
I'm good, Coffee, thanks. It's very early here.
Very early. I was just asking Cuthy what you were like as a tourist, and he said most of the stories he couldn't tell on air.
He's just got in.
Just going to say, I've had to step out of the pub here to take this call.
Oh, wow. Okay, we'll try not to keep you too long. We're going to go back to 2013 very quickly, of course, a victorious Lions tour. And cast your mind back, how did it feel to be part of that winning series?
Look, I think that was to play... To be representing the Lions is one thing, and I think I said it in that clip earlier. To win in any shirt you play in is one of the most important things. And to win that test series was brilliant. To be part of that squad, it's always something that you look back on, you go, I would have loved to have played in that test series itself. But one of the special things about the Lions is that you get, and I heard Dan Bigger actually saying it earlier in the week, is that you have the best players from 4 teams, and there's the margin between each of them is so small that it comes down to a little bit of form, a little bit of luck, a little bit of what the coach perceives. So to be there in that changing room and that after that last test in Sydney was unbelievable, and especially to have beaten the Aussies by 40 points that day. So no, we had a great old couple of days. It was funny. Faz isn't doing it this time, I believe, but back then, 12 years ago, I don't think we went home until about the Tuesday or Wednesday, Coffee, wasn't it? And everyone at home couldn't understand why you played on a Saturday. They weren't coming home until a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, we were like delayed flight, I think, a couple of days, guys, apparently. Yeah, but it was some celebration of mine, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah. The unplanned delayed flight, just to extend the celebrations a bit longer. Travel is something that has cropped up in this tour, in terms of been so many moving cities, so many moving parts, and how did you find that when you were touring?
It's tricky, and you forget about it until I went and watched the Lions train on Tuesday down at the churchy school here that they're at, and it was only when the doc was saying they were so glad to get to this point because they played 5 games in 14 days. You kind of forget all the travel. And the guys were saying that it was nice this week to actually get into a room and basically unpack, if you like, because it is tricky. You have to have the same stuff at the top of your bag. You need your match kit, you need one set of training kit, and then you need some casual clothes. And it is literally play, captain's run, play, travel, maybe train, captain's run, play, travel. So this week, definitely is, from a player's point of view, is so much better. We just get a second to breathe out. And Australia, of the 2 tours I went, is definitely the worst for travel, just because the country's so big. So you're actually on planes a lot more, whereas you can move around a bit more in buses, etc. Now, logistically, the Lions make it pretty easy for you. They take all the stuff ahead of you, and you just have to step in a plane, and your bag is at the hotel. But still, it's something mentally you have to deal with, and probably more for the younger, sort of less experienced guys. It's a wee bit of a different. It's a novelty, but that, I think, Topsy, that playing midweek games is something that's very unique to Lions. You guys know it. As a professional rugby player, you never have to front up and play. Sometimes be involved in 3 22 or 23-man squads in a week. And that's one thing that I loved about it. Just finishing playing, then knowing that 2 or 3 days later you might have to put the boots on again. So it is very, very unique, and it's something that I loved about it.
And Rory, you touched on something that I want to get into now, and it's actually quite good I've got both of you on here, because you went on 2 tours, but you didn't earn a Lions cap, and obviously, Alex, you earned a cap in the first and second test. So I want to talk about, as we get into test week, the role of the test guys versus the midweek guys. So I guess, Rory, for you, how did you feel in those weeks, and how important was your role, I guess, in helping make sure that the test guys were ready to go out and perform?
It's a very tricky place to be, because you're at the end of a long, hard season, and you kind of know, especially in Australia, because and you've seen it now, the opposition leading into this they're giving everything, but they're weak enough. The scores have been fairly one-sided. Now, the Lions probably haven't played as well as they'd like, and they've ran away a bit when the bench have come on, but you kind of feel early on that there's a sense of the 23, probably a bit less so here. They kind of waited until that Brumbies game, so you kind of have a feeling what it's going to be like. But ultimately, you've got to stay tuned, because you need that non-15 to be training very well, and probably more so in Australia, because you're not getting the test against the opposition. You need that 15 to be training as well as they can. You need, I think, when you're starting in any team, you need that sort of Monday, Tuesday where the non-15 kind of cut you apart a time or two.
Yeah.
And there's nothing quite like that little bit of a fear that you're going to be cut open to refocus to get you ready. Because ultimately, you all want to be there. You all want to win a test series together. And so you kind of try to get that balance. And then you do try to have a bit of when the day's off there and you know you're not playing, you can go out and have a couple of beers and as a non-23 kind of decompress a little bit, but ultimately you have to keep focused, and that's one of the hardest things to do, is to stay focused right to the very end of the tour, because A, you don't know if there's going to be an injury, and B, that level of training to win a test series in a Lions jersey has to be at the top level leading into those games. So there is an important job there. It's nowhere near as important as the 15 that'll take the field, or the 23 that'll eventually be in the field, but there is a very important element to it, and you got to keep people focused.
Alex, what was your impression of that time? Obviously, you had the pleasure of starting,
yes,
then bench, and then not involved, so you saw it from all sides.
I saw it from all sides, really. I remember the last week, I remember we were in Noosa, and I remember the team was announced, and obviously the lads, I remember we actually carved them up, I think, on the Tuesday, that badly that they actually selected only about 10 lads to train for the rest of the week. Because we had back three of like myself, Simon Zebo, Christian Wade, we had Owen Farrell, Mike Phillips, like the back line. When we did a back session, we absolutely tore them, and like we had an unbelievable session. Brian O'Driscoll was obviously in the centre. It was an unbelievable back line. And then after that, I think on the Thursday, it was only like a half session and then a team run. They actually only named about 5 or 6 boys to train against the backs, whereas then we were sort of, not on a jolly, but we were doing obviously other events off the field that the Lions go ahead, and I'd say Rory was probably leading the charge of that at times.
Top tourist.
Top tourist. And we had some great bunch of boys. Rory, who would you think you'd got on with that you didn't think you would have got on with in that tour, especially that last week?
I think probably that the Youngs brothers got, and obviously Ben was not involved in that last game. I think there's always this kind of, and no offence to this, Topsy, but I think whenever you play rugby against England, you're always going to assume that you're not going to get on with them. But when I think back to my 2 tours, there's a lot of the English players that I'm still very, very close with. The 2 Youngs boys, Haskell and Marler from the last tour. So there's loads and loads of that. I remember I was actually doing an event the other day with Haskell over here, and we were talking about it that on the 2017 tour when Billy Vunipola got injured, and I remember reading going, oh, not him. He just seemed so loud, so obnoxious, sort of everything that I didn't think I liked in somebody. Yeah. But he became one of sort of the people that you went to on that tour, because you need guys with big characters, and you need guys that are, when you're low, to pick you up. And you're right, Cuthbert, there's so many people, and those couple of nights out you have, and some of those training sessions were the same in the forwards. You know, like we were kind of hammering them. And look, it's hard when you're starting. You have one eye on making sure you're ready for Saturday, not Tuesday. When you're not in the starting team, Tuesday's the biggest day of the week for you. But look, it's like, that is the great thing about this tour. And speaking to a couple of players, I think this team seem to be bonding really, really well. There's no massive dominant characters in it, so everyone has the freedom to know each other. You can't stick your head up and have, like, Sean O'Brien hatchet it off because he's slagging you off about something. So look, it's brilliant.
Oh, amazing. But then just very quickly, what's that like then? I mean, you work so hard to form these bonds with guys that you go head-to-head with across the Six Nations, and then obviously a few months later, you have to do it again. So does the hate come running back, or is there a bit more mutual respect now because you have been on a Lions tour together?
I think the post-match is significantly better. I think pre-match, it's still, you still want to win. You still, like, everyone will go back to the Six Nations and everyone will want a Grand Slam for their country. But once you finish, you go into the post-match function, and actually you look forward to going to the post-match function to catch up with the guys that you toured with, and you have a beer with them, and you then straight away, you might slag them something about the game, but very quickly you're back to the tour, and that'll hold for 2 or 3 years until the next tour. And then whenever we have times like this, and you chat in a coffee on talkSPORT, and you chat about 12 years ago, and look, that'll last. Speaking, Jason Leonard was speaking at an event, and he was catching up with all the guys that he played with that are still on the gravy train over here. So it's, it is a bond, and when you're in the middle of it, you probably don't quite appreciate how big that bond is. And it's only as the years and the tours go by that you realise how many good friends you made, and everywhere you go, you catch up with them, and straight away you go back to, do you remember this happened, or do you remember that happened, or we'll not mention what happened after, between the third test and flying home, all of these things.
Some amazing stories and memories. Rory, pleasure to have you on. Very quickly before you head back to the pub, how do you think the series goes?
I think the Lions will win. I think they'll win on Saturday, but I think it's going to be really close. It obviously worries me a little bit that Joe Schmidt, I've seen him with Ireland taking, whenever we had injuries, and named what was seemed to be a weakened team against some of the top Southern Hemisphere teams and still winning. So that worries me a little bit, but there's just so much quality in this Lions lineup. I think they will win it 3-0, but I don't think it'll be as one-sided, the games, as everyone's expecting. There are some quality players still in that Australian team. It's a pity that Valentini and Skelton aren't available for this game, but yeah, look, let's go. The Lions they need to win, because I'm out here, so the Aussies are hard enough to deal with without them winning.
The good luck charm. Rory, really appreciate your time. Enjoy Australia, and I'm sure we'll chat to you again soon.
Cheers, Rory. See you in a week.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. That is big thanks to two-time Lions tourist Rory Best there. And it's the end of day 2 at the Open at Portrush. Going to jump across to that very quickly. Sean O'Brien has been watching for talkSPORT.
Yes, the much less famous Sean O'Brien here. World number 1, Scotty Scheffler, leads the Open at the halfway stage after a stunning second round, 64. Could have been even better, actually. He narrowly missed a birdie putt at the last, but it is the lowest round of the tournament so far, and Scheffler has been the story all week after that blockbuster press conference questioning why he even bothers being so good at golf. So this is a very good chance to win once again, and we all get to see how much it really means to him. One shot back, Matt Fitzpatrick is bidding to become the first Englishman to lift the claret jug since 1992. Brian Harman and Haotong Lee are 2 back at 8 under. Tyrrell Hatton and Bob McIntyre in a big group at 5 under. Rory McIlroy's not out of this yet. He's at 3 under. And even the likes of Xander Schauffele, Justin Rose and Shane Lowry at 2 under can't be counted out just yet. There is a lot of golf left to play. It's all set for a blockbuster weekend. The best golfer in the world is winning. There's a shock. Scotty Scheffler leads the Open by 1 on 10 under par.
The Open Update on talkSPORT with Arnold Clark. Everything for your car, all in one place.
Thanks, Sean, for that. Let's head from the golf straight to the football. An update from the Women's Euro. Spain against Switzerland with Ian Abrahams watching.
Spain 0, Switzerland 0. Switzerland will be happy to have kept Spain out in the first half as the half-time whistle goes, but the Spaniards really should be ahead. They missed a penalty on 8 minutes. Mariona Caldente of Arsenal was fouled inside the penalty area. She took the spot kick but dragged it wide. It was an awful penalty, not the first awful penalty we've seen at this tournament. And then just before half-time, a Spanish corner, Paredes, unmarked 8 yards out, saw her header come back off the post. Really, she should have got it on target. Pina twice forced Peng in the Swiss goal to make good, decent saves. Switzerland, half the job's done for them. They've kept Spain out for the first period. Half-time in Bern. Second half will be live on talkSPORT 2. It's Spain 0, Switzerland 0.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. When the big match means Big McDonald's hunger, try the new and iconic Big Arch. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
You're listening to the British and Irish Lions kickoff preview right here on talkSPORT. Don't forget, the talkSPORT network has been your home of the Lions for the last 12 years, and this year is no different. We'll be bringing you live and exclusive commentary of all 3 of the upcoming tests, as well as the midweek game against the First Nations and Pacifica 15, with our coverage of the opening test getting underway tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Next up, we're going to be taking a deeper look into head coach Andy Farrell, and Alex will take us into the dressing room during one of the most famous line speeches ever.
There is no tomorrow. We are taking them boys to the Hurt Arena this weekend.
You're listening to the British and Irish Lions kick-off preview show here on talkSPORT. I'm Topsy, and alongside me, the former Wales and Lions winger Alex Cuthbert. It's just over 12 hours until kick-off between the Lions and the Wallabies in that all-important first test. We'll be bringing you live and exclusive commentary from 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. You do not want to miss it. Right, let's move on and shift our focus to head coach Andy Farrell. The Rugby League Great Britain legend, who also played rugby union for England, and he's still actually the Ireland head coach, but he's been on a sabbatical since being named Lions coach in January of 2024. So he succeeded Warren Gatland in the role, having been assistant for the 2013 and 2017 Lions series. And of course, he's had a historic tenure with Ireland so far. He's taken them to a first series win in New Zealand, a Six Nations Grand Slam since taking the reins in 2019. So his resume more than speaks for himself. And Alex, I guess the question is, what kind of man and what kind of coach is leading the Lions in Australia?
Yeah, he is one of the very few that are able to probably get the best out of a player, but really feel like he's your mate as well, sort of thing. You know, like a lot of coaches are very good at obviously being at the head, and they speak like you know, in a way where like, oh, I can't wait to play with him. But off the field, that's where I was quite surprised. I think when I first met him in 2013, how sort of friendly he was and how like easy to speak to. Like even now, if I saw him at the Wales England game, I just go up to him and have a chat, and we were just chatting about the Lions and with his wife there. He is so relatable, but when he's in around the boys and it's the serious stuff, he's so good at getting the best out of people, because he makes you feel like you're his man. You're the best. You're in that position for a reason, and he just pumps you with that so much confidence, and especially the way he speaks. You know, we've seen it in a couple of his speeches that you end up bouncing off the wars in his team talks, you know, and you're like 4 days out and you're like, well, I've got to calm down. So he's one of the best, and his record speaks for itself, doesn't it, really?
I mean, yeah, the best coaches have a way of doing that, don't you? Like they get that balance right between off the field, you're very happy to spend time with them, but when it is go time, they know how to speak to you and manage you to get the best out. Can you remember anything that Andy did or said with you in particular on your tour?
I think I played the first game out in Hong Kong. We played the Barbars, and I know it was a little bit of a different defensive, I guess, sort of way we were defending for the Lions compared to Wales, obviously under Sean Edwards, but two very, you know, high influenced rugby leagues defences. And I remember I sort of jammed in from a long way out thinking I was going to get there. And obviously when you play the Barbars, they're just throwing all sorts of offloads. And someone's thrown it, I think, to Joe Rocococo, and he's run the length and they've scored in the corner. And I remember being in the airport and I was pretty down on that. And he'd come over and he'd be like, oh, what do you think? How do you think you went? And I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm a bit gutted about that jamming. He goes, mate, don't worry about that. He goes, I like your intent. Literally just little clips like that. And straight away I was like, oh, hang on a minute, you know, that wasn't that bad at all. He doesn't dwell on the negatives at all. It's always the positives, what you do well. And as a player, that's exactly what you want, isn't it? I think so. Yeah, very good at that. Those little, I guess, details.
Yeah, I guess because yes, as a player, it's easy when you make a mistake, especially one that leads to a try. Like you dwell on it over and over again. Yes. So actually, for a coach to come in and almost arm on his shoulder, don't even worry about it. Almost like you did what I wanted you to do. It didn't work out that time. You will get it the next time. Yeah. It's all good. We've mentioned, of course, he was involved as one of Gatland's assistants in 2013, the tour you were on. And during that tour, Andy delivered one of the most famous speeches in the history of the Lions before the team went to war in the third and final test. Became known as the Hurt Arena. And let's take a little listen.
We cannot afford our emotional energy to dip whatsoever. You know why? Because there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. We are taking them boys to the Hurt Arena this weekend, because our mentality is going to be a different mentality than what the British Lions teams have had over the last 16 years, right? A different mentality. Because over the last 16 years, it's been about failure. You shock yourself by taking yourself to another level. Because that's what being a Lion's about. It ain't about anything other than that. It ain't about taking part. It ain't about being here. It's about winning. They won't have that. They won't have that. Make it your point of difference.
Whoa. It's like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember being in that room. I wasn't involved in that third test, but I just remember looking around and the boys' faces, you could see it in their eyes. It was like, whoa. If you said the wrong word to one of them, you feel like you're going to get a massive right hook or something. But I remember the training was absolutely brutal that Tuesday after that session. It was really full on, and I think that's the boys are real simmering, especially because we lost the second test and we should never have lost it as well. And we had a few days to really let our steam off. You know, on the Monday, came into the Tuesday, and obviously Andy came in with that, and I just love his timing. He's not shouting. It was the pauses, and I remember I was at the back, and I remember Lee Halfpenny turned around, and his eyes, I've never seen anything like it. It was like he was possessed. He was so on focus. It was definitely something I think the boys needed after losing that second test, and it was the atmosphere. You could. It's hard. I'm like sweating
You're back
here now.
in the room now.
Yes, when you're in that room, seriously, it was like something else. I've never heard Al speak like that before. That's probably one of the first time I've ever really left a meeting like, wow. You know?
Yeah.
Because usually I'm just pretty laid back and like, yeah, well, we going training. But that was like proper focus, yeah.
Yeah, just pin drop, wasn't it? Like
Literally.
You could just, and he left enough gap in the sentences just to let it really hit.
That's what did it, I
Yeah.
think. You know, I'm used to some boys screaming, all the words and all that. But that was just so precise. It was bang on, really.
Well, yeah, we can only imagine what tomorrow's speech is going to be. It's finally here. It's the British and Irish Lions taking on the Wallabies in the opening test of the series in just over 12 hours' time. Live and exclusive right here on talkSPORT in Brisbane, with coverage starting from 10 a.m. and kickoff at 11. Shabana Hearn will be your host for that one. Alex will be in the studio, as well as Wallabies all-time record try scorer David Campese, and your commentary team, the former Lion Ben Kay and Andrew McKenna. Plus, if that wasn't enough, just a few hours later here on talkSPORT, we've got live and exclusive commentary of the big one from the world of boxing. Alexander Usyk against Daniel Dubois for the undisputed crown, live on talkSPORT from Wembley Stadium. Huge blockbusters. You don't want to miss out on any of it. And don't go anywhere, because coming up next, we've got another Lions legend joining us for a chat. It's Jonathan Davis. He's going to tell us about how it felt being called up in that famous third test ahead of Brian O'Driscoll in 2013.
It's official, Noni Madueke is an Arsenal player. talkSPORT's chief football correspondent Alex Crook has the specifics.
It's a 5-year contract until 2030. Initial fee of 48 million rising to 52 million pounds. And this is one very much driven by Mikel Arteta. He admires the versatility that Madueke brings. Obviously, he can play on either flank. I think they've looked at the numbers and the data, and they think they're getting a decent signing here.
Madueke will join up with his new teammates tomorrow evening as they embark on their tour of Singapore and Hong Kong. Now, Manchester United are understood to have reached an agreement with Brentford over Bryan Mbeumo. talkSPORT understands a bid of £65 million plus £5 million in add-ons has hit the spot. Brentford, meanwhile, are prepared to rebuff all offers for Yoane Wissa, with Mbeumo's move to Old Trafford now seemingly on. Forest, Newcastle and Tottenham are all said to be interested. Elsewhere, the Lionesses have been warned they used up most of their 9 lives during the win over Sweden. Their performance has been labelled by some as truly terrible, with others stating their disbelief they made it through. talkSPORT's Courtney Sweetman-Kirk has called for a big improvement.
They're a bit fortunate, England, and don't get me wrong, you've got to have fortune to get through a major tournament in terms of to get to a final, to go and win it. So I'm not taking away from England, but you're right. Maybe Italy, we might get away with that, but Spain, there's absolutely no chance we will get away with playing like that.
England face Italy in the last 4 of the Euros on Tuesday night. You can hear live commentary on talkSPORT. Not long to go now until the first Lions test against Australia, a game they're favourites to win.
We don't pay too much attention to the bookies' odds or what people are saying. We're just concentrating on tomorrow and trying to put a great performance out there, because that's what it's going to be needed. You know, a great performance, not a good performance, to beat this Australian team. They're a proud nation. They're top class.
The match is live on talkSPORT tomorrow morning. Finally, Manchester United's new £50 million training ground is expected to open next month. The revamp includes a barber's and an improved swimming pool. And don't forget to tune in to talkSPORT 2 for your coverage of the Open over the weekend.
You're listening to the British and Irish Lions kick-off preview here on talkSPORT. I'm your host, Topsy. Alongside me, former Wales and Lions winger Alex Cuthbert, and we're building towards the big one tomorrow morning, the opening test against the Lions and the Wallabies. Yes, it's finally here. Not long to go now, 12 hours time, and you can find that live and exclusive right here on talkSPORT. Coverage is at 10 a.m. with kick-off coming at 11 a.m. Shabana Hearn will be your host for that one. She's going to be joined by Alex in the hot seat, all-time record try scorer for the Wallabies, David Campese, and your commentary team of the former Lion, Ben Kay and Andrew McKenna. And later on in the day, in case that wasn't enough, here on talkSPORT, we've got live and exclusive commentary from the big one from boxing. It's Usyk against Dubois for the undisputed heavyweight crown, live on talkSPORT. So a quiet Saturday to keep you entertained here on the network. Right, joining us for this next segment is a man who's made 96 appearances for Wales over a 13-year career, another 2-time Lions tourist who's won 6 caps on tour, and he was voted Player of the Series for the 2017 Lions tour to New Zealand. It's a very warm welcome to another Wales legend, Lions centre, John Davis, aka Foxy. How are you doing, boy?
Good evening. Thanks for having me on. Are you good?
How's it going, Fox? You all right?
Yeah, good, Kat. Happy days. How are you?
Yeah, good to see you, mate. Good to see you.
Good to see you. John, a huge morning for the Lions tomorrow. Just how important is it that they make a statement in this first test?
Oh, look, I think it's imperative that they get off to a good start. They've probably been a bit disappointed in parts of how they played and how they put, performances together. But They've had a full week's prep into this first test now, and you'd like to think that this team has had enough time to really, put a statement out there and show what this group is capable of, because it's, probably the strongest squad on paper in a number of years that's toured with the Lions.
John, you've had the pleasure of 2 tours, 6 test caps as well. So what have, it's a long question, but what are some of your fondest memories of being a Lion and pulling on that shirt?
Oh, look, I think for any rugby player, it's the ultimate. It's a huge honour, the history that's gone before you, and to play a small part in that in test matches is, you're extremely proud of it when you look back on it. And I think when you're there at the time, you just realizing the role you have to do, the job you have to do, and watching these boys go out with the shirt on, it brings back a lot of fond memories of 12 years ago when I was in Australia, and it's I'm trying to think, winning the test series, 3rd test against Australia, and the intensity of that Lions tour as well in New Zealand in 2017, that was something else as well. So, my best moments of probably my rugby career have happened in that jersey.
We were just discussing 2013 actually, and no small feat taking Brian O'Driscoll's place in the starting team with the pressure of the series being drawn at 1-1. So, can you take us back to the moment that you found out that you were going to be playing at the weekend?
Yeah, I remember being called to the coach's office, and I was happy with the way I was playing, but I knew Jamie Roberts was being fit for the 3rd test, and he was very important to how we wanted to play. So I didn't expect to play because Brian O'Driscoll is a legend, and I just didn't think they'd drop him. And then when Gats and the coaches told me the news, it was a little bit of giggling, nervous giggling, and then I just knew that there was going to be a big storm happening in the news when the team was announced, and that really did kick off, and it made an interesting week, let's put it that way.
Foxy, obviously that week you weren't expecting at all that call up, did you?
No, look, I was really happy with my form. I think I was playing some really good rugby, but I just didn't expect it because of the reputation. But I was over the moon and with the opportunity, and the vital thing was that there was 45 players on tour at that point, and we were all trying to win a test series. It wasn't about one man, and that squad that was picked for that 3rd test, which was just focused on making sure that we could celebrate a test series win.
Did Drico shake your hand afterwards, though?
I did. I think the team was announced. We got on the bus to training, and I was relatively young at that point, sat in the middle of the bus, and obviously the more experienced players are at the back, and Drico walked onto the bus and he was at the very back because he don't get much more experience than him, and he shook my hand, congratulated me, and just left me be, and allowed me to prep for which at the time was the biggest match of my career. So he did shake my hand, to be fair to him.
I will say that week was a week where everyone was trying to avoid Brian O'Driscoll that week. And after that, it was walking around eggshells. I remember being at breakfast once, and you're looking around, you saw Brian, and usually you just go up and sit down, and everyone was just like, whoop, just veering away, and he was just sat there on his own, I think, at one point. So, but it's all concluded now with obviously the test win. Fox, I was going to ask you, what was that winning feeling like after that last test match, especially the change room after? It was some feeling, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, I think very rarely in test match rugby you get a chance to take it all in, the atmosphere, because games are normally very close, and that intensity fills over, and you just don't notice anything bar the game itself. So the last 15 minutes we had a good win, good score line, and you're able to see the fans. The amount of fans that struck me that travel. And it's such a big thing for them as well. People save up for 4 years to go on a Lions tour, and you could see that they were looking forward to enjoying the win as well. And then, after all the stress from the pressure of playing in that 3rd test ahead of Brian O'Driscoll, it was almost a bit of relief that we've won. and I just knew then we were going to be in for a good time. And I can remember walking into the changing rooms, and Daniel Craig was there, and all the boys start singing the Bond theme tune, and he goes, "Oh, boys, congratulations on the series win, and in the cool boxes, I've got you like a little treat." And I think most of the boys thought they were just Powerades or something like that, and then they crack it open. There's magnums of champagne that he treated us to, and
fair play.
Yeah, fair play to him, I gotta say, and it kicked off.
It did.
The party indeed. That it was a good couple of days. As as one of the best things was, you have a couple of days of R&R, say, before you fly back, just to get over that game before you fly. So it was lots of fun, and the memories you create off the field are almost as stronger than the ones on the field, because you really get the bond together with these players from different countries by spending time away from the training field or on the match field. That's where when you play international games afterwards, you have that friendship, that that history together. So it's a real special occasion, I have to say.
Fox, I was going to ask, I can't remember who it was, but do you remember who poured all that champagne over Daniel Craig? And he gave one of the boys a look where he thought he was going to go James Bond on him, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he called MI5, and he's like, yeah, that guy hasn't been seen since.
It was security, wasn't it, straight on him?
I think he had a cracking jacket on, that's all I remember. He probably didn't want to get that dry cleaned. But no, it was pretty special, and I think, it was champagne going everywhere. I think if he was pretty naive to think that he wasn't going to get doused with champagne if he walked through that changing rooms.
Who would have thought, hey, Daniel Craig, here's some champagne, and then you thank him by...
We thank him by spraying
it all over him. Well, I don't know. We'll see who makes an appearance this year. We'll talk the squad for tomorrow in a second, and as I have two Welshmen with me, I do need to get your opinion on Jack Morgan. The selection means the Lions go into this test match without a Welsh player for the first time since 1896, and here's head coach Andy Farrell when he was asked yesterday how close Jack was to the call-up.
As close as you could imagine. Look, you're actually gutted for players like that, and Josh as well, and Henry as well, because playing good rugby could well easily be in this side on Saturday, but I suppose that shows the good place that we're at as a group.
Foxy, we knew there were going to be some really tough calls, Jack Morgan maybe being one of the toughest. How gutted are you for him? Do you think he should have been in the team?
Yeah, I do. I think he should have. I think just, you're not trying to compare two players, but in the head-to-head, Jack has the most tackles and turnovers on tour. And, in just carries, meters gained alone, he's like close to 70 meters more than carry. So, it's a real tough one for Jack, because you trust Andy Farrell to have made the decision that he feels right, but I would have liked to have heard a bit more whether or not he, does he think Harry would be better suited to the style they're looking to play or whatnot. But Jack's done an amazing job of performing at the level for the Lions on this tour already, and I am gutted for him, and I think he just has to make sure that he maintains this form and just be ready, because unfortunately injuries do happen, and for me, I think he deserves to be next man up if there's an opportunity for him.
Yeah, Fox, we all know in Wales going mad that Jack's not playing. But from a position point of view, obviously with Siona Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones, for you as a centre partnership, obviously you being in that position, were they the two, obviously the ones you would have chosen, 100%?
I think I would have loved to have seen the decision if Ringrose was being fit. Yeah. I think it's gutted for Gary that he's ruled out through concussion. But, both pairs of centres, I know it was not whether they were Irish or Scottish, they're the Lions, but together in those two partnerships, they were showing great form. And, I think Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones have really hit their straps in terms of that bond. How Hugh Jones's angles are running. He runs at holes. He's not trying to hold people. He's trying to be a strike runner, which I think has been really impressive. But Gary Ringrose's defence has been excellent as well. But having Bundy Aki on the bench, I think it just reminds me of that game when Wales played Ireland in the Six Nations, where, you know, Wales had Ireland rattled, and at halftime Bundy Aki came on and he changed that game. He brought an intensity, an edge to that Irish team that they needed at that point. So, you know, it's great that they have that experience on the bench to call upon if needed. So I think, you know, it would have been interesting if Ringrose had been fit, for sure.
Well, John, we really appreciate having you on. We could have kept you on for hours, but we're going to have to let you go. Enjoy the series, and no doubt we'll chat again to you soon.
Cheers, Fox.
That's John Fox-Davies checking in ahead of the British and Irish Lions getting underway tomorrow morning. Right now, Spain are in action against Switzerland in the Women's Euros quarterfinals. You can hear that live over on talkSPORT 2, and Ian Abrahams has the latest.
An hour gone, and it's Spain who are coming desperately close to opening the scoring. It's Spain 0, Switzerland 0. They've just hit the post twice from a corner. First of all, a header which came off the far post, then one that sort of bounced along the line and seemed to be poked against another post. They hit the woodwork in the first half, missed a penalty as well in the first period. Spain, they're all over Switzerland, who are doing manfully to hang on to this draw at the moment, but of course you wonder whether they're going to tire as the last half hour kicks in. It's live on talkSPORT 2. Spain, who are favourites to win the Euros, 0, Switzerland 0.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. When the big match means Big McDonald's hunger, try the new and iconic Big Arch. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
You're listening to the British and Irish Lions kick-off preview show here on talkSPORT ahead of tomorrow's opening test between the Wallabies and the Lions. Don't forget, the talkSPORT network has been your home of the Lions for the last 12 years, and this year is no different. We'll be bringing you live and exclusive commentary of all three of the upcoming tests, as well as the midweek game against the First Nations and Pacifica 15, with our coverage of the opening test getting underway tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Ben Kay, his top 3 favourite ever Lions moments, and Alex is going to give us his too. Don't miss it.
I'm former British and Irish Lion Ben Kay, and as we build up to the Lions' first test down under against the Wallabies this weekend, I've been counting down my favourite ever Lions moments. My number 3 top moment ever for the Lions would be sitting in Wellington in 2017 when the Lions evened up the series, their win against the All Blacks.
The Lions win the second test of the Lions series for the first time since 1997, and we're all going to Eden Park next weekend. Series still alive.
My second favourite ever Lions moment, I have to go right back to 1989 and the Battle of Ballymore.
Well, a punch up there between halfback Robert Jones and Nick Barr-Jones. They're all joining in now. It's punches galore.
My favourite ever Lions moment was Jeremy Guscott's drop goal in South Africa to win the series in 1997.
Now Dawson gives it back to Guscott, and Guscott kicks a drop, and the Lions are in the lead. Jeremy Guscott, all the experience in the world, and he's put the Lions in the lead with just 4 minutes in the game.
You are listening to the British and Irish Lions kickoff preview here on talkSPORT. I'm your host, Topsy, alongside me, former Wales winger Alex Cuthbert. We're going to get into favourite Lions moments in a second, but we're going to get an update from the football, but there's been a goal.
Yeah, Spain 1, Switzerland 0, 67 on the clock, and finally the Spanish pressure is told, and it's the substitute Anthony Del Castillo who scored it. It was Bonmatti's clever back heel on the edge of the penalty area, and Del Castillo came on about 3 or 4 minutes ago, has managed to put the ball in the back of the net, and Spain finally, for all their pressure, have the lead they deserve in this quarter-final in Bern. It's Spain 1, Switzerland 0. It's live on talkSPORT 2.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. When the big match means Big McDonald's hunger, try the new and iconic Big Arch. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
And that was Ian Abrahams with the update coming from the Women's Euros. And as you heard previously over the course of the week, former Lion Ben Kay has been counting down his top 3 favourite ever Lion moments ever. And you just heard them there. 1989 Battle of Ballymore, I was 4, so
I wasn't born.
So there you go. So we're not sure about 2. Wellington 2017, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that was an epic test series.
Yeah.
And Jerry Guscott 97. That's probably the first Lions moment that really resonated with me. I remember watching that clearly. Like, I mean, what a way to win a test series.
Yeah. Not going to get better than that, really, are you? I think.
Oh, incredible stuff. And, well, seeing as we got Ben Kay to do his, we thought, well, why not do the same with you? So, Alex Cuthbert, your favourite ever Lions moments, no pressure. Let's start with number 3.
Number 3, what have we got done? I think it was Ronagara, Russia Blood, when he took out Stain. I remember, this is when I just started playing rugby. I think I was, how old would I have been? I'd have been like 17 at the time, and I was in Bath playing sevens, just started playing rugby in the sevens, and I remember it was on the big screen, and it was just a big memory for me, because then I wasn't playing professional rugby at all at the time, and then you roll 4 years' time, and I'm in a Lions shirt. It was just something that really sticks in my mind, and obviously they should have probably won that series, which would have been, a lot of my mates who were in that test series. I ended up playing with at Cardiff, I signed 2 years later after that, watching it. So, yeah, it just sort of resonated with me, really, that bit of a weird one, but I'm sure Roger's not going to thank me for that. But
he'll be all right. He's too busy having little fights with Dan Bigger. But it's funny that, though, isn't it? It happens quite a lot in rugby, and actually we've seen it this tour with Henry Pollock rooming with Owen Farrell. Like, you were playing at Bath, just minding your own business, watching these guys on the screen, and then 4 years later, you're out there in the same shirt, doing it with them. Incredible stuff, and I guess that's what can happen in sport. Let's get into your runner-up, your number 2.
Yes.
Number 2.
This is O'Driscoll! He's gone through! Oh, he's going! O'Driscoll for the post! Brian O'Driscoll! Oh, you beauty! That is incredible!
Yeah. O'Driscoll, 2001. I remember being at a rugby club with my dad watching this. I was about 11 years old. And the funny thing is, my first roommate on a Lions tour was Brian O'Driscoll. So, like, I just don't think you can get any more iconic than that, can you? You know, and I've got plenty of stories to say about Brian in that week I was with him. But yeah, that for me, just sort of watching that as an 11-year-old, never thinking, you know, I'd ever going to be a professional rugby player, and then 12 years later, I'm rooming with Brian and playing in the British, you know, first test with him.
Jeez,
very surreal.
What was that first interaction when you walk into the room and you're like, oh, he's my roommate?
Hi, Brian. No, I was pretty jubilant. Obviously, I was young. I was very young. He was obviously near the end. So, weirdly, I got on really well with the older players, like Sir Paul O'Connell. They used to just like, I guess, hearing all the stories about us, our antics on nights out and stuff. But Brian, unbelievable, most skillful player I probably ever trained with. You've seen clips of him with the low look pass. You know, that was me scoring in the court. You know, he was a player I really looked up to. Likes of him and Shane Williams were the two of my favourite players growing up. So to room with him, yeah. I'm not going to say that he was a good roommate.
Too kind. You can give us the real stories afterwards. And finally, let's find out your favourite ever Lions moment.
Number 1.
Sexton to try and test the Wallabies. Oh, there's a big hole. Cuthbert's going through. All the way through. Alex Cuthbert.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I've had to be selfish.
I would be amazed if you weren't. I mean, it's your favourite moment.
No, unbelievable. Really. I ran that move numerous times in the season with Wales, obviously when we went on to win the championship. And I remember Sexton was like, Cutty. He used to call me Cutty because of the Irish accent. He's like, we're going to run this move. I can't remember what we called because Hooper was in the middle because they went down to, obviously, he had to play in the centre.
Yeah.
And I just hit this line as hard as I could. Ball right in front of me, and I was just running, you know, blinkers on, and you know, for me, I'll never forget that, and I get sent it nearly every other day, you know, whether it's the Lions year or not. It's one of those tries I think that'll just be out there forever, and even my boy now is watching it. So yeah, it's proper iconic, I think, really for me, and I'm so appreciative that I've had a chance to, I guess, leave my sort of legacy in the Lions, and that's just what the Lions is about, isn't it?
Incredible, mate. Brilliant. 1, 2, 3. We've got Ronan O'Gara, Rush of Blood. We've got Brian O'Driscoll, 2001. And Alex Cuthbert's favourite moment is his try in the 2013 Lions series first test. We're going to switch quickly back to football because there's been another goal in the Spain against Switzerland game. Ian Abrahams with the update.
And you've got to feel like it's all over now. It's Spain 2, Switzerland 0. 2 goals in 4 minutes. The second one, a little bit of controversy. Switzerland thought there was a foul in the build-up, but Claudia Pina won the ball midway inside the Swiss half, took 2 or 3 touches towards the edge of the penalty area from 22 yards out, left of centre, has bent one into the top corner. The rest of the game is live on talkSPORT 2. Probably a procession now for Spain to reach the last 4. It's Spain 2, Switzerland 0.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. When the big match means Big McDonald's hunger, try the new and iconic Big Arch. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
You're listening to the Lions on Cave preview show here on talkSPORT. Don't forget, we've got a Supersonic Saturday of sporting action here on talkSPORT tomorrow. It all kicks off with the Lions' all-important first test against the Wallabies. We've got live and exclusive commentary of that from 10 a.m. At the same time, it's day 3 of the Open at Port Rush. You can listen to all the chaos unfold with our coverage over on talkSPORT 2. That starts at 7 a.m. And if that wasn't enough, in the evening, Daniel Dubois takes on Alexander Usyk at Wembley Stadium for the undisputed heavyweight crown. We've got live commentary of that as well. It's a summer of sport. It's in full swing, and it's right here on talkSPORT. Coming up next, we're going to have a deep dive into the Wallabies.
The Wallabies, once they were giants,
Brings down the curtain on the 1999 Rugby World Cup. Australia the winners.
but somewhere the magic faded. In recent years, Australian rugby has struggled. The team that once lit up Twickenham and silenced Eden Park has found itself floundering, uncertain of its future, disconnected from its past.
There's not much in the papers out here about rugby anyway. It's very sad.
The 2023 World Cup was the lowest ebb, out in the pool stages for the first time in history.
This is a devastating result for Australian rugby. It shows the arrogance of Australian rugby that, oh, hang on, no, we'll match them, we'll go toe for toe. Well, we've just been squashed.
A rugby nation reeling, fans turning to league, to AFL, or just turning off. And yet, on the horizon, a flicker of hope. The British and Irish Lions are coming.
To Iblota. Lovely ball to Jones on his shoulder. Hugh Jones will score.
The 2025 Lions Tour, a blockbuster, a turning point. For young stars like Suaalii, it's a chance to inspire.
Happens every 12 years where the kids who play rugby aspiring to be the next Wallaby. I think it's just so exciting.
For coach Joe Schmidt, it's a trial by fire.
Everything's ramped up. The microscope you're under, the pressure you feel.
Free tests, tens of thousands of travelling fans, millions watching. The spotlight will burn bright. From glory to doubt to redemption, the story of Australian rugby might just be written anew in 2025.
You're listening to Lions Uncaged. It's the first test preview show here on talkSPORT. I'm your host, Topsy, and alongside me is the former Lions winger, Alex Cuthbert. We all know how big a Lions series this is, not just for the Lions, but their opponents. For them, it's only once every 12 years, and for the Wallabies, this is a huge, huge moment. You just heard from their all-time record try scorer, David Campese, and rugby writer, Christy Dora, and it hasn't been smooth sailing for Australian rugby over the past few years, but towards the end of the piece, head coach Joe Schmidt and superstar centre Joe Suaalii injected some positivity to say the Australian public can get behind the team in this Lions test series. And we can actually hear from the head coach Joe Schmidt now, who spoke to talkSPORT's Andrew McKenna.
I don't know which is the cart and which is the horse, but we need each other. We need that support to feel valued playing in front of a home crowd. But we also know that, in recent times, perhaps we haven't earned that support, and so people tend to not be so, vocal in their support of the team. So we've felt a little bit of a shift. Even in Newcastle, it was refreshing to get people in the street saying, "Oh, can't wait for the game on Sunday," or "Can't wait for the Lions series," and even here in Brisbane, in town, a guy came up to me the other day and said, "We are 100% behind you." Now, it was Brad Thorne, but it's great to have his support, I did wonder if he had his boots, but, I do think that there's just a little bit of a groundswell of support, and the players are really conscious. You need to earn that every time you lace up and go out in front of the crowd. So they're conscious of that, without being distracted by it, I'm hoping.
So nothing like a bit of humour to cut the tension on a pretty important subject. But Alex, I mean, this is a huge moment for Australia, and I guess the real question is, how has it got to the point where so much pressure is on the team to deliver a series that reignites rugby union in the country?
Yes, I think having Joe Schmidt in there is probably the perfect guy, isn't it? In terms of they had such a bad 2023 World Cup, obviously under Eddie Jones, which is probably the lowest of the low for Australian rugby, isn't it? I think they just were losing people on bums on seats in terms of people coming to the game. That there was no energy around union, was it? Obviously rugby league we know is massive in Australia and AFL, but the likes of Suaalii, Will Skelton coming back in, I think Tuatupa, these players, they're exciting players to come and watch. And I don't think there's too much pressure on Australia. I think all the pressure seems to be on the Lions, I think, this week, because people have obviously written Australia off, haven't they? Thinking, it's a 3-0 series. I'm telling you now, if it's 3-0, every game will be so close. Australians love being their backs against the wall. You know, they're a proper side. And Joe Schmidt, you know, I've played him for a number of years, whether he was at Leinster or Ireland, is a shrewd coach. And he will know how to get the best out of those Australian players, which then will get the best out of, you know, the Australian public. Because I've been on those endings, you know, when Australia are going well, and that crowd, when they get on your back, their sledging is top notch. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're on the wing and you're the closest to the state, you know, closest to the fans. So that's what we want. We want that sort of rivalry back, don't we?
Yeah, it's huge because, like you say, that they've got a lot of battles to win, not just obviously on the rugby pitch, but off it as well, winning back the audience, fighting against other sports that are clamouring for similar players. I mean, they had the issue the other week where the State of Origin was on at the same time as a Lions Test match, and you think, like, come on, like, we should be working together rather than against each other.
Yeah, they seem to be obviously against each other. It seems to be a rivalry, whether it's TV coverage or press you know, I heard Nick White, I spoke to Nick White in the autumn campaign when they came over. They actually beat England, obviously did well against Ireland, and he said they beat England and all the press straight away wanted to talk about union, but the NRL, the Rugby League was so adamant that it had to be talked about Rugby League first and then union, not, you know, front page union. So they're always battling, you know, again with those guys, and obviously we know the product of the Rugby League is massive, isn't it? So yeah, they've obviously got a big battle with that, but this is the perfect opportunity, especially we spoke about earlier on. They've got a World Cup in 2 years' time. It has to slowly build from here on now.
Well, their squad is out. That's going to take on the Lions. A couple of key injuries. No Rob Valentini, no Will Skelton. How big a miss will those two guys be?
Oh, massive, mate. For me, Will Skelton is one of the biggest human beings you will ever meet. 7 foot, 150 kilos. He's the one guy.
He's massive.
I remember playing against him, and he's the only guy who's ever taken my soul out of my body after hitting me. That's how hard he hit me. He is a big miss. So is Rob Valentini. That physicality. That's where I think Australia are going to really struggle. You know, see a big battle with obviously McFreight, is it? I think McWright, the back row. He's an exceptional player. He's probably one of Australia's world class players in that back row. So him and Curry are going to have a great battle, I think.
Yeah, Australia also had a decision to make at 10. They lost their starting fly half Noel Alessio, so they've gone for Tom Liner.
Yeah.
First start in only his 4th test. How big a call is that?
Wow, fair play. He's gonna show his bottle, isn't he? You know, first game. I think being at home is obviously going to help, but we know early on, I think, how confident he is, you know, in terms of his kicking game, and how much pressure the back row, I think, of the Lions are going to put on him. They really are. I think they're going to go after him straight away. I would, you know, they'll probably hit a couple of late shots, maybe a couple of penalties, just to be like, yeah, welcome to this Lions series, you know. So big decision on Joe Schmidt, but he must have been shown enough in the week for Schmidt to pick him, because he is a very detailed coach. Because for me, and I think like yourself, you picked Donaldson, wouldn't you? Or automatically that experience, get, you know, Suwali in the game early doors, because that 10 role is massive, whether it's field position territory, trying to push the team up, but getting players in the game, you know, the likes of Joseph Suwali and Jorgensen is on the wing, who's absolutely rapid. Harry Potter, I think it's Harry Potter, he's on the wing, isn't he?
He is.
Very quick player. I'm not going to say any innuendos. I know he doesn't like it.
No Harry Potter jokes.
No Harry Potter jokes, but they've got a good side. But that 9-10 for me is the key, and that's where Lions, I think, are quite a bit above those guys.
Yeah, and there will be a lot of eyes on the 13 channel as well. Suwali, especially coming back up against Sione Tuipulotu, who had a bit of a tete-a-tete in the November series when Suwali, for want of a better word, cut Tuipulotu in half.
He did, and then I think Sione to him was like, I'll see you in the summer next year, wasn't it? So,
and here they are. So fireworks. How many of Australia's team do you think would get in the Lions 15?
If Australia had their best side, Will Skelton would be in mine. And then maybe Angus Bell. He's pretty good. One of their best ball carriers, which is a bit strange when he's on the bench. But not too many more already. Wright, the fullback. Very Tom Wright, very, very good player. If you watch his highlights from the autumn, unbelievable. Beats defenders for fun, absolutely rapid. And I think that's an area where we're probably not the strongest, are we? You know, Hugo King's not played a lot of rugby. Kinghorn injured, would have been my probably starter. And obviously Elliot Daly is injured. So yeah, 3. Oh, sounds bad, doesn't it? I can maybe get one or two more in.
All right. Well, hold that thought. We're going to go back to the football because there has been an incident, I believe a penalty. Ian Abrahams has got another update for us.
And another penalty miss, would you believe it? Spain 2, Switzerland 0. It won't affect the outcome of the game, but Alexia Putellas, who's won 2 Ballon d'Ors, has smashed the penalty to the right-hand side of the goalkeeper Peng, and she's actually made a really good save. So it's what we say, a nice height for the goalkeeper, but she should really have scored, and the continuation of penalty misses in this tournament has seen Spain miss 1 in each half tonight. It won't matter, the world champions are going through. 2 minutes to go. Spain 2, Switzerland 0.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. When the big match means Big McDonald's hunger, try the new and iconic Big Arch. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
You're listening to the Lions Uncaged preview show here on talkSPORT ahead of tomorrow's opening test between the Wallabies and the Lions. Don't forget, the talkSPORT network has been your home of the Lions for the last 12 years, and this year is no different. We'll be bringing you live and exclusive commentary of all 3 of the upcoming tests, as well as the midweek game against the First Nations and Pacifica 15. Coverage starts tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Do not miss out. Next up, we're going to hear from the Lions winger Tommy Freeman, who makes his Lions debut tomorrow.
Everything's ramped up. The microscope you're under, the pressure you feel.
It happens every 12 years, so I believe it's going to be the biggest games of my life.
Amazing thing to do, and it's probably the best experiences you can get in rugby.
That's what being in Lions about. It ain't about taking parts, it ain't about being here, it's about winning.
I've coached with Andy for enough years. He'll have them simmering at the moment, but come Saturday week, they'll be at the boil.
Bediaki on the right-hand side. Thought about passing, goes himself, barrels over now. Has he got it down? Referee says yes. Pollock's got it back and he's barreling his way forward. Up and over the 22. Keeps going. 5 metres out. Can he get the offload away? Yes, he can.
It's a brilliant indication of just how good a talent Henry Pollock is.
This is the tour now. It's not yet to come. This is it now.
Going to go to Tuipoloto. Lovely ball to Jones on his shoulder. Hugh Jones will score.
We want to see a performance that does everyone proud, and making sure that we attack it straight from the get-go.
You're listening to the Lions Uncaged first test preview show here on talkSPORT. I'm your host, Topsy Ojo. Alongside me, as he has been for the last 2 hours, the former Lions winger, Alex Cuthbert. Don't forget, it's Supersonic Saturday of sporting action here on talkSPORT tomorrow. All kicking off with the Lions' first test against the Wallabies. We've got live and exclusive commentary of that from 10 a.m. At the same time, over on talkSPORT 2, it's day 3 of the Open at Port Rush. You can listen to all of that unfold starting at 7 a.m. And if that wasn't enough in the evening, we've got Daniel Dubois against Alexander Usyk at Wembley Stadium for the undisputed heavyweight crown. We've got all the live commentary of that too. It's a full summer of sports in swing right here on talkSPORT. Now, it's been nearly 2 hours, 2 wingers in the studio, and we've not had a chance to get stuck into the wingers. So we're going to do that now. We've got James Lowe and Tommy Freeman starting for the Lions tomorrow, and Tommy caught up exclusively with our very own Alfie Reynolds.
It probably hasn't sunk in yet until you step on the field and kind of realise it, but no, it's awesome. It's your boyhood dream. You watch it growing up, and yeah, you never think you're going to get there yourself, but yeah, fortunate to be able to pull the jersey on this Saturday.
What was the moment like when Andy told everyone, the squad? What was the mood like in the room, and what was your immediate reaction?
Yeah, the mood obviously is, we're kind of one squad at the end of the day, and anything can happen, so yeah, it's being ready the whole time, but no, well, my reaction was obviously, as you can imagine, to be named in the test is the pinnacle of your career, I'd say, as a rugby player. So, yeah, delighted, over the moon, and just can't wait to get going.
Well, lovely to hear those words from Tommy. We're going to get stuck into that in a second, but we're going to go back to the football, the Women's Euros, where it's full time between Spain and Switzerland, with Ian Abrahams watching.
Spain 2, Switzerland 0. 2 goals in 4 second-half minutes midway through the half. Won it in the end for Spain. Substitute Del Castillo, after a good ball from Bonmati, made it 1-0, and then Claudia Pina's curler from 22 yards out into the top corner. Swiss won happy. Thought there was a free kick in the build-up to the game, which never came. Spain missed 2 penalties. Mariona Caldente after 8 minutes and 3 minutes of time. Alexia Puteas, both were poor kicks in a tournament blighted by them. And Switzerland ended with a red card. Marit's foul on Parelio as the last defender saw her receive a straight red. The world champions, though, make it through to the last 4, and they'll take on the winners of tomorrow's quarter-final live on talkSPORT 2 between France and Germany. It finished in Bern. It finished Spain 2, Switzerland 0.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. When the big match means Big McDonald's hunger, try the new and iconic Big Arch. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
So that's Spain joining England and Italy in the semi-finals of the Women's Euros. Right, the Lions. Alex, you happy with the wingers and you happy with the backline overall?
Yeah, I think that's probably my backline. I think I do like Mac Hansen an awful lot.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think you know what I mean in terms of he's a player who is very good at just being in and around everything. You know, he's first receiver, out the back a lot, isn't it? I think Freeman would have started, but I think James Lowe, I don't think he's been quite on fire, but his exits and his left foot kick is...
Yeah, I think a combination of maybe Mac's injury, that we don't quite know the full details, James Lowe's kicking game, he's, again, almost that Andy Farrell, Simon Easterby, he's my guy, I need somebody that can do what he does, and I back him to deliver in the Test series, but on form, I think Matt Hatson probably was ahead of him. Yeah,
obviously Kinghorn as well for me. I think if he's fit, he's got to be in around it. I think he's a real good operator at fullback. But Keenan, I think when he's fit and firing, he's great. Like if you heard that, he lost like so much weight, didn't he? He was ill for like 2 weeks, I think. So he's done well to get back. But I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's gonna be dangerous. Like I said earlier on, the Australian back three are very good. They won't want to kick too loosely to Tom Wright. I'm telling you now, he's got wheels. He's very good at finding gaps. He's going to look to run more than kick, isn't he? So he's a player that you can get after a little bit, but I wouldn't want to give him too much leeway. So yeah, Pretty happy with that back three.
All right.
I think we'll get him when we on our best.
Well, let's find out because it is prediction time. So first test tomorrow morning. You've experienced it 12 years ago. How do you see tomorrow's game going?
Tomorrow's game, I think, will be quite a cagey first 20 minutes. I think there'll be a lot of kicking and trying to win that aerial game. And I think the Lions scrum will just be too strong. There'll be penalties. I think we'll slowly keep the scoreboard ticking. And I think we will probably run away with it the last 10, 15 minutes, I think. And it's mad, I saw a stat. The Lions have won every game against Australia, first test, since like 1890, something. So it's not great for the Australians, is it, if you're going on stats like that. But I think the physicality of that team that Andy Farrell's picked, I think it's just going to be too much for Australia. I really hope it's not, but I just think it will be, and I think they'll run away quite comfortably in the end.
Interesting. And the series?
I do think Australia will come back, Melbourne. I think Will Skelton will be back. Those guys will be back. Depending on how Tom Liner goes, whether they put Donaldson back in at 10, they'll have a chance. MCG, what a stadium that is going to be, by the way. In theory, you want Australia to win the first test, don't you? So that MCG is packed out, 100,000+ people. But going for a Lions win, I think, first test.
All right, it's going to be an amazing series. Alex, appreciate you being here for the couple of hours. You've been listening to the Lions Uncaged preview on talkSPORT, and we're so excited because it is finally here. The British and Irish Lions take on the Wallabies in the opening test of the series in just under 12 hours' time. Live and exclusive right here on talkSPORT. Coverage starts at 10 a.m. with kickoff at 11. Shabana Hearn will be your host. Alex Cuthbert will be here. David Campese, the Wallabies all-time record try scorer, will be here. And your commentary team will be the former Lion Ben Kay and Andrew McKenna. Myself and Alfie Reynolds will bring you a post-match reaction show on Sunday over on talkSPORT 2. That's also going to be released as a podcast, our Lions Uncaged weekly show. Hope you've all been tuning in for that one. And if it wasn't enough, just a few hours later, here on talkSPORT tomorrow, we've got live and exclusive commentary of the big one from boxing, Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois for the undisputed heavyweight crown. You don't want to miss any of the action coming up live on talkSPORT tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. 10 a.m. It's the big one. It's the Lions against the Wallabies. You got a full day of action here on talkSPORT. Don't miss out. Coming up next, it's the Sports Bar Weekender with Adam Cattrall and Carlton Cole.